All right, hope you're all doing well today out there in the world. Something that may oftentimes not be considered an improvement, but depending on how you do it, it could be, is how many meetings do you have a day, a week, a month? How long are they? What's the point behind them? Is there an agenda? Is there a need? Oftentimes, especially since COVID, where a lot of us were working remote and had to start doing our meetings virtual through whatever medium our company has. Uh, it seemed like it went up a lot. I mean, I've always been in a lot of meetings, but since we went virtual with meetings, it's like almost all day, every day, it's a meeting, right? Do we really need it? You could lean out meetings every day, and that could save countless hours for a lot of folks, and that will free up resources, frees up your team to go out and do things, work, whatever it may be. But it also saves money because those resources are, us people out there that are being utilized in the inefficient manner. They're sitting either in a conference room or behind a monitor in a meeting for hours. They're not on the floor doing X, Y, and Z. So it's an idea, it's a thought that leadership should look at. Whoever's in charge of meetings, an operations cell, supervisors, managers, whatever, depends on the business, looks at the meetings, looks at the schedule. Do we need all this to be successful? There may be times where you have to have a short daily meeting, especially those on IT teams, that use Scrum, Agile methods. Just make sure everyone's on point. Even if it's 15 minutes, maybe, right? It all depends on what you do, what your business does, what your team does. But oftentimes we can use an email, simple email, saying, hey, what's up? What's the status? Give me an update. You don't have to bring in 5-10 people into a half-hour to hour-long meeting. One thing I've noticed over the years is that you lose people after a certain amount of time. Some maybe after 15 minutes, some a half hour. But I try to have, at least on my end, meetings last no longer than an hour. I've designed over the years most of the training that I provided to be between 15 and 30 minutes because you want to keep people's attention. You don't want to lose them. But meetings, especially like management reviews and things like that, I try to keep it to at least an hour max. After that, you just start losing people, period. And, I've always been one of those folks that, if you do a PowerPoint, you don't want to have death by PowerPoint. But, my mindset is a minute to two a slide max. So if you have 30 slides, it shouldn't take longer than an hour. You should be able to even keep it down to a half hour. Depends on what you're talking about. Depends on what you're trying to get across to the people that you're presenting to, or training, or whatever the slideshow may be for. But there's room for improvement in there. It's about communication, which I brought up in a previous video, but it's also tied to process improvement by looking at your own schedule to lean in. Do I need all these people to do all these meetings on a regular basis? Can I cut some out? And that will save some time, some hours, man hours of, people being tied behind a desk or in a conference room. So, just something to bring up. Hopefully it's something that leaders are looking at. They should look at. Is it beneficial for them and their team? All right.